Let's listen in live. This is at City Hall.
And why what the city was claiming about the status of snow clearing didn't match the reality on the ground. The Auditor General's report and the city manager's report found glaring issues that were not fixed over the years, despite 4 previous investigations into the city's snow removal processes. The city staff in charge with managing the snow clearance failed in their job. They had no idea what was happening out in the field. The GPS maps were not updated. Reports coming back from the fields inspections failed to document where they had inspected, when they did so. Some didn't even bother to sign the names on the reports. The snow plows broke down when we needed them most because the staff allowed privately contracted companies to use the wrong machines, despite the contracts specifying which machines to use. Instead of buying the same equipment used successfully by Montreal, Ottawa, and Calgary, the city team purchased their own, and most of them broke down. Worst of all, the staff team received 29,000 calls for help through the 311. And they ignored 99.83% of them. They only replied to 51 requests for help. The city manager's report at the executive committee today is the first step in offering some solutions. The report includes actions like more search capacity and faster snow removal. I will accept his recommendations as the first step to address this systemic failure. However, key recommendations from the previous Auditor General reports dating back to 2020 remain outstanding. Much more city action will be coming in the next few months. We must fix this failed culture of ignoring residents' basic needs. People need to get around during and after a snowfall. The second item on today's agenda that I want to highlight is the rapid TO plan for Dufferin and Bathurst. Those 2 streets carry over 75,000 people per day on buses and streetcars. FIFA World Cup will likely bring an estimated 300,000 visitors to our city. With that in mind, City Council decided to expedite the plans for dedicated transit lanes on these streets. I support rapid TO. I support more transit to get people moving. Congestion is a problem in the city, and already we are hiring 100 traffic agents and speeding up constructions, coordinating them, but nothing has as large an impact as better public transit. The better way to tackle congestion is making sure that there are reliable and faster TTC service, so more people take transit instead of driving. So let's move forward with the Dufferin and Bathurst lanes south of Bloor. This proposal has been around for 6 years, since 2019. It's time to take action instead of reviewing reports. And we can do better. That's why I want city staff to explore more options for improving transit services north of Bloor in time for the World Cup. Working with local councillors, residents, small businesses, and transit riders, I want options. Whether it's HOV lanes or other solutions, loading zones, etc. There's a lot of alternatives one could look at so that transit and people could move faster in that area. Now, these options must consider alternatives to on-street parking, timing of loading zones, problems identified by the local communities, whether they're residents or small businesses. A proper implementation of rapid TO means thousands of new riders on TTC. Less frustration. These are people who wouldn't be driving, so there'll be less frustration being stuck in traffic. We know the economic cost of congestion is high, and that's why Toronto Region Board of Trade, the voice of businesses in the city, has expressed support for rapid TO. And I thank the Board of Trade for their commitment to tackle congestion in the city and their relentless optimism of creating a better city. Together, let's get Toronto moving. You may have some questions?
Mayor Chow, on the snow, if we want to clear and remove the cloud,
That's
better.
It's
More, you frequently have talked about in the last 2 years the financial strain on the city before you've inherited that financial strain. We're talking millions more to better maintain our roads when there is a major snowstorm. Are you willing to spend that money, and where would it come from?
Well, you would see in the city manager's report and the consultant report coming back that the reorganization would not mean hiring new staff. That means no new spending on that front. Okay? The report was very clear. There's another piece, though, about snow removal. That we have to look at. Okay? But not answering 99.83% of the calls for help. That's not how much money one spent. Okay? That is a systemic failure of ignoring the basic needs. Basic needs of trying to get out onto the street. You have to leap over a sidewalk with these snow banks that are so high. It doesn't make sense. Okay? And accepting reports from the field, because the GPS maps obviously is not working, so they can't tell what's happening on the street. I'm talking about the city staff in charge. So you can't count on GPS, okay? So you do a field inspection. Well, the field inspection, 4 of the areas, 4 out of 5, have reports that are missing date, time, location. Some didn't even bother signing their names onto these reports. In contract 1, 20 reports were like that. That is also wouldn't cost a lot more money if you have the report. You already have the field people out there inspecting. How much would it cost for you to write better reports? Okay, so I can go on. Buying machines that are successfully used by Montreal, Ottawa, Calgary, which all of them have more snow than we do. Okay? It's successful. In fact, I saw one of these machines in Ireland, in Dublin. And I thought, what? Our machines that are being purchased, that was purchased, half of them, more than half of them, failed, broke down, and stayed in the shop in the middle of the snowstorm.
Okay, we're listening into Mayor Olivia Chow. She's speaking ahead of executive committee. She's talking about this report coming forward from the city manager. City council had asked the city manager to take a look at the city's response to that wicked snowstorm in February. I'm sure many will remember it was record-breaking. We saw 50-plus centimeters of snow. A lot of people were concerned with the response. The mayor talking about what they're seeing in the report so far, suggesting that there were issues with the snow clearing efforts. I mean, obviously, but concerns with GPS maps, inspections, broken plows, people who weren't signing off on the work. Even those calling in to the city for help weren't getting any sort of response. So Art is there. We'll get a sense of, what other executive committee members think of this report and what the next steps will be.